CD 2. Module 6, Recording 1. £10.
The answer is obviously B. The world's first coins were produced, or minted, in ancient Lydia, in what is now Turkey, about 2,600 years ago. The coins were made of electrum, a mixture of gold and silver. The other items didn't appear till the 20th century.
£25.
A company goes bust when it cannot continue because it has no more money, but a person who has no money is often described in colloquial language as broke or even flat broke. The answer's A.
£50.
All of these words refer to sums of money people receive at different times. A professional person gets a fee when they do a piece of work. People get a pension when they retire. You get a subsidy when you need money for an unprofitable business. But you don't normally get any of these from your parents. The answer's C, pocket money.
£100.
Valueless and worthless both mean that something has no value, so it's worth nothing. Pricey is an informal word for expensive, but the item can be bought. So the correct answer's B, priceless.
£250.
To say a company is in the red means that the company owes money, but it doesn't necessarily go out of business. If it breaks even, it doesn't make a profit, in which case it would be in the black. The only phrase that means it goes out of business is D. It goes bankrupt.
£500.
All of these words describe sums of money you give to different people at different times, but only two of them relate to crime or dishonesty. A tip is the money you pay a waiter or a hairdresser for doing a good job. A deposit is part of the full price of something. You pay it when you agree to buy something, then pay the full amount later. So again, there's nothing illegal about that. A ransom is the money you pay a kidnapper, so that certainly does relate to crime. But if you want to persuade a person in authority to do something dishonest, you pay them a bribe. So the answer's B.
£1,000.
You can probably guess that tight-fisted means someone who hates spending money, and perhaps miserly too. Stingy has the same meaning, so the odd one out is A, flashy, which actually means that you like spending lots of money on things that show everyone how rich you are.
Module 6, Recording 2A.
The story of Stella Liebeck is often quoted as a symbol of what has come to be known as compensation culture in the USA today. Listen to the facts and make up your own mind. One morning in February 1992, Stella Liebeck, a 79-year-old woman from Santa Fe, New Mexico, drove 60 miles with her son Jim and her grandson Chris to Albuquerque Airport in order for Jim to catch an early flight. After she dropped Jim off, she and her grandson stopped at a burger restaurant for breakfast. Her grandson, who was driving the car, parked so that Stella could add cream and sugar to her coffee. She put the cup between her knees and tried to pull the lid off. As she tugged at the lid, the cup tipped over and scalding coffee poured onto her lap. She screamed, and a horrified Chris rushed to help her. Stella received burns over 16% of her body and was hospitalized for 8 days. Her daughter stayed home for 3 weeks to look after Stella following her release from hospital. Treatment for her burns, including skin grafts, lasted for more than 2 years. Eventually, Mrs. Liebeck wrote to the burger company asking if they would consider selling their coffee at a lower temperature and to refund her medical expenses, about $2,000, plus the lost wages of her daughter who stayed home to care for her. The company offered her just $800. Only then did Stella consult a lawyer, who advised her to sue the company. The jury awarded her $160,000 in actual damages and an extra $2.7 million in punitive damages against the fast food restaurant in question. The sum was eventually reduced to $640,000, but not before there was a huge outcry in the U.S. media, and Stella Liebig had unwillingly become a national celebrity.
Module 6, Recording 2B.
Okay, so what's your take on this Stella Liebig thing then?
Well, I think she was entitled to some compensation.
What do you some compensation? What do you mean by some compensation?
Well, I mean, let's be blunt about this. She burdened herself. She had to undergo medical treatment. Her family member had to take time off of work.
What I find really interesting is when you just said that she burned herself. Now, not once did she admit that it was her fault. You've just said she burned herself, and that's exactly what I think. She burnt herself, so she shouldn't get any compensation from them.
Yeah, but David, the coffee was absolutely ridiculously hot. It's one thing for a company to serve hot coffee, but it was 180 to 190 degrees.
Companies would not serve coffee that hot if the public didn't demand in the first place that they got really hot coffee. Do it the other way around, you probably get people suing them for having cold coffee and their tooth fell out. I mean, it's ridiculous.
But the coffee that you have at home isn't that hot, and people say, oh, coffee's great, and that's the temperature that they want. It's 135 to 140. I mean, that's a significant difference
You
in
have to ask
temperature.
You do have to ask yourself why they have it that kind of temperature. I mean, presumably they have it that kind of temperature because people want it that kind of temperature.
Well, okay. I think people want it hot, but you do have to realize as well that there have been approximately 700 cases of people being burned by scalding coffee. So, I mean, obviously restaurants and takeout food places have got to take this on board. They just can't sell it that
There may
hot.
well have been 700 cases of people being burned by scalding coffee, but they didn't all sue, did they? I mean, she's the only one who sued.
No, she's the most famous one because she got most money out of it.
I'm sorry. No way should she have been given that money. No way.
Look, the fast food chain makes $1.3 million a day selling coffee. They could afford this.
It is ridiculous. It is ridiculous to claim that just because a company makes a lot of money and they can afford to pay people compensation, they should. The thing is, nowadays, what happens is that we have to blame someone, and the person to blame is never yourself. Never ever yourself. It's always somebody else's fault. Always.
Module 6, Recording 3. A.
Only then did Stella consult a lawyer.
B.
Not once did she admit that it was her fault.
C.
No way should she have been given all that money.
Module 6, Recording 4.
A, an American actor, once the star of a major US cop show, moved to London and started a career in the theatre as a writer and director when his TV career began to fade. When one of his plays appeared at a theatre, a reviewer in a newspaper claimed that it was, without doubt, the worst thing he had ever seen on the London stage. The show closed soon afterwards, and A decided to sue the newspaper. It emerged in court that the reviewer had not actually been present at the performance, but had relied on information supplied by another journalist. He had also claimed that the performance had been poorly attended, when, in fact, it had been more than half full. The reviewer's lawyer said his client apologised for the inaccuracies in the article. The judge awarded A damages.
B, a man from California, was diagnosed with terminal lung cancer in his 50s. He had started smoking when he was 13 and had smoked 2 packets of the same brand of cigarettes a day for most of his adult life. He said that he had tried to stop several times, but resumed after those attempts failed. He claimed that he had been tricked into smoking by the tobacco industry, which he said had made him think that cigarettes were cool, without making him sufficiently aware of the danger to his health. He sued the tobacco company in question and was eventually awarded a sum of money by the court.
C, a rail worker employed as a ticket collector, had to sit in a ticket booth checking passengers' tickets as they left the platform. However, C, who weighed 110 kilograms and was 1 metre 82 centimetres tall, claimed that the ticket booth was too small for him to work in comfortably. When he went off sick, suffering from severe back pain, he was sacked. C said the rail company had treated him unfairly because his working conditions were to blame for his poor health, and he sued his employers for unfair dismissal. C eventually won his case and was awarded a sum of money in compensation.
D, a 26-year-old woman, was working as a dancer when she met an elderly Texas oil tycoon. The man showered the young dancer with gifts and money, and 3 years later the couple got married. They were married for only 18 months before he died, aged 89, leaving an estate worth an estimated $2 billion. Dee did not have a prenuptial agreement with her late husband, and there was no mention of her in his will. However, she claimed that he had always said he would take care of her and had promised to leave her half his fortune. This claim was contested by the man's son, who said he was the sole beneficiary of his father's will. He said that Dee had exploited his late father and should receive nothing.
Module 6, Recording 5.
A was awarded £20,000 or $30,000 damages following the review of his play. He said later, "I stand really strong on the side of fair comment and opinion about the theatre. If you're going to use something like that, get your facts right."
B was awarded a total of $3 billion by the Californian court, the largest sum ever awarded in a case of this kind. Members of the jury explained that it had been their intention to hurt the tobacco industry.
C received just £1,500, $2,250, about a month's salary, as compensation for losing his job.
D was initially awarded $450 million, the amount by which the value of her late husband's companies had increased during their marriage. However, this was later reduced to $88 million when her husband's son appealed against the decision.
Module 7, Recording 1. 1.
The trouble with my sister is that if I do something she isn't happy about, she won't just say what's wrong. She sulks for ages and ages before she tells you what's the matter. And it's the same if we have an argument about something. She can't just put it behind her or move on. I hate it.
2.
I share a room at college with my friend Laura, and she's really good fun. She's always laughing and everything. The only problem is that she never stops talking. When she comes in, she'll tell you everything that's happened to her, everything everyone's said to her in minute detail. Sometimes you wish she'd just shut up, just for a few minutes to give you time to think.
3.
One big difference between me and my wife is mornings. I jump out of bed really bright and breezy, singing along to the radio, and she just loathes the morning. She crawls out of bed with her eyes half closed and just growls at everyone until she's had at least 2 cups of coffee. You hardly dare speak to her. It's terrible.
4.
One major problem between my ex-husband and me was tidiness. He was incredibly tidy, I would say fanatically tidy, and he used to go mad at me if I left things lying around. He was always picking things up and folding them and tutting and sighing to himself. It was awful.
5.
The worst thing about Tony, my ex-flatmate, was his moods. One day he'd be really friendly and full of jokes, and then suddenly the next day, for no reason you could see, he'd be really down, and you could hardly get a word out of him. You never knew where you stood with him.
6.
The thing that most annoys me about my son is the way he turns on the TV the moment he walks into the room, or puts on a CD or whatever, and he never turns anything off when he's finished. Then he'll go into another room and put something else on. It's infuriating.
7.
I'm living with a landlady at the moment, but I'm going to move out. I just can't stand it anymore. She never stops moaning. Every time I see her, it's something different. She's always waiting for me when I come home. with her latest problem. It's driving me mad.
Module 7, Recording 2.
Peter, did you used to be in the army?
Yes, in my time you had to do national service when you were 18 years and it was compulsory, so you had no choice.
So how did you find it?
Well, I remember at the time I was really looking forward to it. It was an opportunity to go abroad and live in other countries, and it was quite a shock when I got in.
What were you looking forward to? I can't imagine anything worse than being in the army.
Well, it was, I don't know, it was exciting. It was that boy thing and shooting a rifle and going abroad. Yes, I remember I was really looking forward to it. The first thing they put in my hand was an iron, and they showed us how to iron a shirt, which wasn't what I wanted to join the army for, because I'd never ironed a shirt in my life. And then the next thing they did was they showed us how to sew a button on a shirt and how to darn a hole in a sock. I think it was about 6 weeks before I was even allowed to get my hands on a rifle at all.
Yeah. What about you, Liz? When did you leave home?
I went to boarding school when I was 11. I'd had a wonderfully free life growing up in the country in Australia, and suddenly at the age of 11 my parents decided that they wanted me to go to a school in the city. What about you?
Well, I started doing some au pairing when I was 18. I'd done French A-level, so my French was relatively good, but still speaking in conversation and living in the French language for a month was very daunting.
Was it different to how you imagined it was going to be?
I can't remember now what I imagined, but I mean, we had some fantastic times. The weather was gorgeous every single day, and we'd go down to the beach every day. The kids were a good age, so they could go off and play, but it wasn't all kind of playing on the beach.
Sailing.
Yeah, the parents really wanted them to learn English whilst I was there, so one of my roles was to teach them English, which for an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old in their summer holiday was not what they wanted to do at all. So we had quite a lot of battles trying to get them to sit down at that dining room table and do their work.
But what was it like? What was it like actually just living in a place that you hadn't been to before, with a family that you didn't know, and living under somebody else's rules?
It's difficult. Being an au pair, you're told what to do. You're there, you're getting paid, you're living in their house, and you have to abide by their rules. I don't like being told what to do, and to be told to go and put on the milk, to sweep the floor, to put the washing out, I find quite hard work. But after a couple of weeks, you get to know the routine, so you start doing those kind of things yourself without having to be told. But I just have moments when I just kind of storm up to my room and shut the door, because at 18 I was still quite young, I was still quite inexperienced, and I found it quite difficult to deal with that.
Well, I suppose that's something that you had to do as well, didn't you? Live under the rules of the army at 18. That must have been.
Yes, that's right. Yes, the discipline was very, very hard. But there's another story that I remember about being in the army, because suddenly we found ourselves in a long hut with about 30 beds, with a short space between each bed. And from all walks of life, we came from everywhere, and the man opposite me, he was a huge man, and he was one of these people that you avoided eye contact with, because if you so much as glanced at him, he looked as if he was ready to attack you. And he had this thick Elvis Presley style hairstyle, and on the second day we were marched to the barber shop to have a haircut, and they just cut the whole lot off. And I remember him standing outside afterwards, and he looked like an overgrown schoolboy, and he was crying. Tears were running down his cheek, and he was quiet for about 2 days, and then after that you couldn't have met a nicer person. He did everything, he joined in everything, and he was really completely different.
So it's just his hair gave him an ego.
Perhaps that was his way of coping in an alien environment.
Could be.
As well.
Yeah.
How do you feel about having your head shaved then? I mean, did you?
Well, they didn't actually shave it. They gave us what was known in those days as a short back and sides.
But did you feel like you lost your individuality?
Yeah, because that was the whole idea, to make you work as one unit, so that if they shouted jump, then 30 men jumped at the same time, because that was the whole objective, to discipline people and to make you an effective force.
How did that affect you? How do you feel about it now, looking back?
Well, at the time it was a bit scary, but looking back now, I think it was a good time.
How boarding school affected me? Well, I said earlier it made me a really independent person.
Yeah.
And at the time, I hated it. I hated the rules, I hated the regulations, but it did, as I said, give me independence. But it also made me quite a conscientious person, because I got used to studying. Mm-hmm. And I think as a result of that, I developed into a very different person at the end of the day than I would have done had I stayed in Australia and, living my free life in the countryside. So I suppose looking back, I'm very grateful that my parents made that decision to send me away, but certainly I didn't feel that when I was 11.
Module 7, Recording 3.
Hello everyone, and thanks for coming along today. Sorry. As you know, we're going to be making our final selection of the 6 candidates very soon, so I just want to remind you of the main things you need to bear in mind. Obviously, I don't need to tell you that our number one priority is audience ratings. And this is a big project for us, and it's going to be shown at prime time against stiff competition on the other channels. So we need something that's going to capture people's imagination and pull in big audiences. Now, as we already know, the candidates have been assessed on their fitness, ability to work in a team, knowledge of survival techniques, etc., etc., and all that is very important. The last thing we want is participants dropping out halfway through their time on the island and going to the newspapers before the show's broadcast with lots of negative publicity. We mustn't be seen to be irresponsible, in other words. It's very important that we make sure that the people we select are likely to stay on the island for the full year. However, a perfectly balanced and perfectly trained group is not necessarily going to be what creates the maximum interest and what captures viewers' imagination, as I mentioned earlier. So, what else do we need to do to give the show that extra something and pull in the viewers? Well, previous attempts at this kind of show have told us that it's very important to have different types of people that different viewers can identify with. Different ages, different types of backgrounds, different interests, single, married, couples, etc., etc., etc. So that's something extremely important to bear in mind. Okay? Another pretty obvious thing is that viewers have got to find the participants attractive and interesting in some way. I don't just mean physically attractive, though obviously that helps. Well, after all, they'll be appearing on our TV screens in shorts and swimsuits for the next year. But also attractive, sympathetic, interesting as people, as personalities. The sort of people they'd be interested to get to know themselves. Related to that, and equally important, is the potential for what we would call interesting interaction between the participants. OK, we want them to get on well and operate as a team, but we all like a bit of drama too. A hint of romance, maybe, a touch of conflict, and 1 or 2 personality clashes, jealousies, etc. Of course, we need to be very careful here, but I think you all know what I mean. Something to get the viewers talking about the show the next day at work and watching next week to find out what happens next. So that's another very important consideration. Anyway, all that remains now is for us to make some big...
Module 7, Recording 4. A.
I'll just take your coat for you.
B.
I was so annoyed, I just tore up the letter and walked out.
C.
I'm just looking, thank you.
D.
The weather was just perfect for my birthday party.
E.
These shoes are just what I need.
F.
I'll just be a few minutes and then we can go.
G.
Nick arrived just after you left.
H.
Look, I've just found that receipt you were looking for.
I.
Lunch is just a sandwich. I hope that's okay.
J.
Would you mind just holding this for me, please?
K.
I've got just enough money to pay.
Module 8, Recording 1. 1.
This is the kind of house that I would love to live in because it's airy and spacious and it's tidy, but I could never live in a house like this because I have 2 cats and 2 dogs and everything gets too messy.
2.
Oh, she's beautiful. Oh, pretty and elegant and sweet and young. Just, I feel warm and good.
3.
I personally don't like. I think it's very over the top and very, very bright. But in the same breath, I like to see people and admire anybody who could wear that because it just shows individuality and creativity and confidence, which is, I think, appealing.
4.
This I really like. I like this because of the clean lines. I like the fact that it reflects things. The reflective surface really mirrored in the water underneath it, I think is fantastic. I love the way it's sort of ship-like, almost. It stands out so well against the background. I think it's beautiful. I think it's beautifully designed.
5.
I think she looks really elegant in this picture. It's a very sort of classic elegance, a very sort of classy lady, and very. The clothes are you can tell they're very expensive. They're very well cut, and she's made up to look as if she isn't made up. Shows it's very sort of naturalistic. The earrings are a bit large. They're a bit gaudy, really, but apart from that, I think she looks, yes, quite exquisite.
6.
I think it's quite obscene when children are abused almost, treated as adults, and they're sort of child who's actually robbed from them. And they're dressed up like dolls. They're not real children.
7.
I like his grungy-looking jumper. I think it looks really good on him. I think they're really good colours. Although he looks really scruffy, I think it looks really cool as well.
8.
Well, about grunge, I guess it used to be really popular about 5 years ago, and I don't really like it. I think it's all a bit dirty, and it's really just an excuse for not washing properly.
Module 8, Recording 2. 1.
Am I pleased that we left before the trouble started?
2.
Boy, did I feel sorry for Charlie when I saw him yesterday.
3.
This flat is a mess. I do think you have a responsibility to help with the housework.
4.
I'm absolutely exhausted. Boy, do I need to get some sleep.
5.
I'm sorry, but the way Gina behaves does annoy me. 6.
You'll never believe who was standing beside me in the queue. John's ex-wife. Was I surprised to see her again?
7.
I know you think I don't like your cooking, but I do like it.
8.
Boy, was I relieved when the day was over.
Module 8, Recording 3. A.
Can you identify this common effect? That's right. It's wind. But have you ever wondered how these things happen?
B.
Is it okay if I use your photocopier? I just need 1 copy.
Free. It's over there, just by the coffee machine.
C.
Henri obviously isn't happy with that decision. He hasn't said anything, but he's giving the referee a very dirty...
D.
Die Hard 10. See it now at a cinema near you. Original track available from all good record stores.
E.
Well, this to me is the problem of modern-day politicians. They don't have real policies. Instead, they just give us bites. To me, they're treating the public like fools. I mean, what do they really think?
F.
It's going to be the party of the year. It'll be fantastic. We've hired 20 Elton John alikes to serve the drinks. And that's not all. We've also got about 700...
G.
Now, I know you're in love, but that's no reason to marry the girl when you've only known her for a few weeks. Before you leap, that's what they say.
H.
It's a Wonderful Life, starring James Stewart, is still one of the most popular good movies of all time and is often shown around Christmas time.
I.
Why not give us a call here on 94.5 FM Chat Radio, and we're giving you the chance to off about any subject you feel strongly about. 88300 is the number, and our first caller is on the line.
J.
Well, just look at that, an Olympic gold medal at the age of just 18. And she looks absolutely delighted, doesn't she? She must on top of the world as she waves to the crowd and then...
K.
I think it's very important that all the employees in this company up to me. I am their boss, after all, and I think I deserve their respect.
L.
Here on Chat Radio. And we're discussing today's news that the Prime Minister has resigned. Charles Lowe, what's your view on this?
Well, to be honest, I have mixed about it. Obviously, I'm very sad on the one hand, but on the other hand, I think this is a great opportunity for us all.
Module 8, Recording 4. 1.
Write down the name of a famous person who has a very good look-alike.
2.
Write yes if you think most politicians in your country speak in sound bites, and no if you think that is unfair.
3.
Write down anything that would help to make you feel on top of the world.
4.
Write down the name of someone you really look up to.
5.
Write yes if you have a tendency to sound off about things you don't like, and no if you usually keep quiet.
6.
Write down the name of a film's soundtrack you really like.
7.
Write down the name of a famous person you have very mixed feelings about.
8.
Write good if you think you are good at giving people dirty looks, and not good if you're not.
Module 8, Recording 5. You're so vain.
Son of a gun.
You walked into the party like you were walking onto a yacht. Your head strategically dipped below one eye. Your scarf, it was apricot. You had one eye in the mirror as you watched yourself go apart. And all the girls dreamed that they'd be a partner, they'd be a partner, and you're so vain. You probably think this song is about you. You're so vain. I bet you think this song is about you, don't you? hopes and dreams, they were clouds in my coffee, clouds in my coffee, and you're so vain. You probably think this song is about you. You're so vain. I bet you think this song is about you. Don't you? Don't you? Well, I hear you went up to Saratoga, and your horse naturally won. Then you flew your Learjet up to Nova Scotia to see the total eclipse of the sun. Well, you're where you should be all the time, and when you're not, you're with some underworld spy or the wife of a close friend, wife of a close friend, and you're so vain. You probably think this song is about you. You're so vain. I bet you think this song is about you. Don't you? Don't you? You're so vain. You probably think this song is about you. You're so vain. You probably think this song is about you.
Module 8, Recording 6. Catherine.
What I really hate is automated telephone answers. When you try to phone up a company and you get a recorded voice and you have to choose different options, and they tell you press 1 if you have a problem with your invoice, or press 2 if you have a problem with something else. And it's never specific to what you want to speak about, and you never know which one to choose, and it takes you like 3 minutes to get through to speak to an actual person, and it's costing you money all this time. And it's very frustrating. I was phoning up the hospital the other day, and I wanted to speak to somebody specifically, and I spoke to a person, and they said, "Is it about appointments?" And I went, "Well, kind of." And she immediately put me through to this automated thing without even saying, "I'm just putting you through," just like blanked off. And that was something which didn't answer my question at all. I had to put the phone down and phone up again to actually speak to a human. So I hate
Assam.
Bad manners. And I'm afraid, from my experiences, I find that women are the worst offenders. Particularly in the morning. I have a bus stop outside of my house. I arrive outside at the bus stop and I wait in line. And lo and behold, it's most of the men who'll wait patiently in line and join the back of the queue. However, women have this very sly habit of sidestepping men, particularly when they're not looking, walking to the front of the queue and jumping on the bus ahead of you. And 9 times out of 10, the bus is late, the bus is full, and who gets on ahead of you is the woman in front, and the doors close and you have to wait for the next.
Sarah Jane.
Something that drives me absolutely mad is repetitive noises, like someone tapping a pencil, or using a fork against a plate to tap, a beeping noise from alarm system going off or something like that. Like I could take 1 or 2 or 3 beats and then I go crazy. And everyone asks me, well, how can you listen to music? But then it's all mixed up and then it's all right for some reason. But just the tapping drives me crazy, and I can sit in a room full of 100 people all talking and eating, and someone can be tapping their fork and I can find them. And someone said to me once I should listen to try and find bombs because I was so good at this, but just drives me absolutely mad. Even strangers in a lift, I would turn to and ask them to stop tapping because it makes me so crazy.
Pietro.
Well, the one thing I really hate is vegetarians. I mean, I don't eat a lot of meat myself, but I have quite a lot of vegetarian friends, and they seem to think that they're morally superior to me, and that really gets on my nerves, actually. Like I said, I don't eat a lot of meat, and I have a great deal of respect for animals. But I think at the end of the day, we're all animals, and animals eat other animals, so I don't really see what is wrong with eating meat.
Module 8, Recording 7.
Welcome back. This is Johnny Taylor here on Drive Time, and I'm very glad to say that our next guest has finally arrived. And we're very lucky to have here in the studio with us to talk about her new film, all the way from the USA, Candice de Burgh.
Hi there.
Candice, welcome.
It's my pleasure.
Candice, obviously you're known as a major style icon. Your face is in all the top fashion magazines. You're seen at all the most fashionable parties. Tell me, what's it like to be so much in the public eye over in the States?
Well, to be perfectly honest, being seen so much in public can be tough sometimes. I mean, I am lucky to be invited to so many things, but to tell the truth, there are days when I'd rather just be at home watching a video, talking to my cats, just doing normal stuff.
Well, it's a good job you didn't decide to stay at home this evening then. Yeah. Tell me, do you ever get tired of being recognised everywhere you go? Does it become a bore ever?
Well, funnily enough, something crazy happened just the other day here in London that made me think about that. And I was having dinner with a very dear friend, and the waitress came over and she said, "Can you sign here, please?" And I'm thinking, oh no, another autograph? So I asked her, "Who's it for?" And she looked a little confused, and she said something, and I just heard the name Bill.
I see.
So I wrote on the napkin, "To Bill with deepest affection, Candice de Burgh." And much to my surprise, she looked at the napkin and said, "Thank you, but I meant, can you sign for the bill, please? Can you sign the credit card slip?" She didn't want an autograph at all.
Oh dear.
And to make matters worse, they asked me to pay for a new napkin.
Oh dear, how embarrassing. Well, thank goodness you were able to see the funny side of it.
Excuse me?
Well, fortunately you were able to appreciate the humour of the situation.
Oh, yeah, sure. After we'd left the restaurant, my friend and I had a real good laugh about it.
Right. So, your new film. When will we be seeing that?
Well, my new movie is called Single Girl, and all being well, it should hit the screens just before Christmas. And I play...
Module 9. Recording 1A.
With the holiday season once again upon us, millions of people all over the world are busy thinking about their annual holidays. A chance to put our feet up, relax and do nothing for a week or two. Sitting in a traffic jam on the way to the coast, queuing up at a packed airport terminal, or fighting your way through the crowds to find a free spot on an overcrowded beach may not be the best thing to put you in that relaxed holiday mood. But for millions of us, it's worth it for those blessed few days where we can forget about work and truly get away from it all. But with more and more people taking to the skies every year, all too often the tourist's search for tranquility, or a touch of genuine local colour, is ruined by thousands of other tourists all doing the same thing. It's as if the tourist industry is becoming its own worst enemy. It is in response to this problem that a new kind of tourism is rapidly developing, ecotourism, as it's often known. And in today's programme, we ask whether this is the future of the tourist industry. Gavin Allen is the director of a tour company which specialises in eco-tours. Gavin, what do we mean by ecotourism?
Ecotourism is really about sustainable tourism. The holiday and leisure industry too often is about exploiting our resources, going for the quick money, if you like, and we've all seen the damage it can do to the local environment. We can all think of places where the local economy has gained in the short term through tourism, but in the end, the very things that attracted the tourists may be lost. Ecotourism is really about preserving these assets for future generations. We've got to think in the longer term. The way forward must be to respect and maintain local environments. So, if you like, the tourist has to adapt to the local lifestyle rather than vice versa. I think this has got to be the way forward in the future.
Module 9. Recording 1B.
So, ecotourism also involves taking tourists away from established holiday destinations to places which are much less frequented. The Kalahari Desert, for example, isn't on the usual list of been there, done that, got the t-shirt places. Virtually inaccessible to foreigners until a few years ago, the desert occupies an area of nearly 1 million square kilometres in central southern Africa. Here, in what is truly one of the most inhospitable places on earth, the only people who can survive are the Kalahari Bushmen. Until now, that is. A British travel company is offering an 11-night, all-inclusive tour of the Kalahari, and 5-star hotels, afternoons lazing by the swimming pool, and sophisticated cuisine are definitely not on the menu. Matthew and Joanne Wyatt have just returned from their holiday in the Kalahari. Matthew, what made you visit such an out-of-the-way sort of place?
It is an extraordinary place with an extraordinary way of life. What we're doing really is getting in touch with the way our ancestors lived thousands and thousands of years ago. The lifestyle that the bush people have is pretty much unchanged over the centuries. They're hunter-gatherers. The men go hunting and the women gather food from wherever they can find it, and they share everything, so we had to fit in with that.
The thing is, you're not just a guest here. If you're a visitor, you can't just put your feet up and let everyone else do the work. You're expected to muck in and do your bit. And so you have to join in with that way of life. So being a woman, I was part of the gathering party.
And what kind of things did you come back with?
Well, usually some sort of leaves that tasted rather like spinach, which they used to make a salad. Nuts. But there are also these beetles. There are these enormous yellow and black desert beetles, which they actually bake in the hot sand.
Good Lord. And you actually eat them?
Yes. Funnily enough, they tasted rather like crab. A little bit crunchy outside. Delicious, especially when you're hungry.
As for the men, what did they get up to?
As a man, I was part of the hunting party, which I'm afraid to say wasn't all that successful. We spent a lot of time nearly catching things. Usually our catch would consist of a hare or a bullfrog or two.
And what does that taste like?
It tastes like nothing on Earth, actually. Like nothing else on Earth.
And that's just one of the ecotourism options now on offer, among the other eco-holidays. You can have a taste of the gaucho lifestyle, staying and working on a cattle ranch on the borders of Chile and Argentina, join archaeologists in the North African desert, or live the life of a religious hermit on an uninhabited island off the west coast of Ireland. But if roughing it isn't quite to your taste, perhaps you'd like to use your holiday to learn a local craft or skill. And these days, it seems you can learn almost anything, from Italian cookery in Tuscany to riding Lusitano horses in northern Portugal. We caught up with journalist Isabel Fay, who had just spent 2 weeks on a yoga retreat in Olpotha, in the Sri Lankan jungle. Isabel, describe the experience to us.
It's paradise. There's no other word for it. You are surrounded by glorious scenery. You can swim in mountain lakes, take showers in waterfalls, and take midnight strolls through the paddy fields. The yoga takes place in bamboo-roofed pavilions, and there is a local medicine man on hand to give ancient Ayurvedic treatments. You learn so much, and it's like being in heaven.
Even though there's no electricity or hot water?
No, there are no traditional Western luxuries. But I can guarantee that you will come back feeling thoroughly spoiled.
Thank you, Isabel. It's obviously been a wonderful experience. So, whatever your tastes, it seems there's an eco-holiday to suit you. And perhaps this is how we'll all be spending our holidays in a few years, instead of lying on the beach in the Mediterranean. Who knows?
Module 10, Recording 1. The Unicorn in the Garden. Part 1.
Once upon a sunny morning, a man sitting in his breakfast nook looked up from his scrambled eggs to see a white unicorn with a gold horn quietly cropping the roses in the garden. The man went up to the bedroom where his wife was still asleep and woke her. "There's a unicorn in the garden," he said. eating roses. She opened one unfriendly eye and looked at him. "The unicorn is a mythical beast," she said, and turned her back on him. The man walked slowly downstairs and out into the garden. The unicorn was still there. He was now browsing among the tulips. "Here, unicorn," said the man, and he pulled up a lily and gave it to him. The unicorn ate it gravely. With a high heart, because there was a unicorn in his garden, the man went upstairs and roused his wife again. "The unicorn," he said, "ate a lily." His wife sat up in bed and looked at him coldly. "You are a booby," she said, "and I am going to have to put you in the booby hatch."
Part 2.
The man, who had never liked the words booby and booby hatch, and liked them even less on a shining morning when there was a unicorn in the garden, thought for a moment. "We'll see about that," he said. He walked over to the door. "He has a golden horn in the middle of his forehead," he told her. Then he went back to the garden to watch the unicorn, but the unicorn had gone away. The man sat down among the roses and went to sleep. As soon as the husband had gone out of the house, the wife got up and dressed as fast as she could. She was very excited, and there was a gloat in her eye. She telephoned the police, and she telephoned a psychiatrist. She told them to hurry to her house and bring a straitjacket. When the police and the psychiatrist arrived, they sat down in chairs and looked at her with great interest. "My husband," she said, "saw a unicorn this morning." The police looked at the psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist looked at the police. "He told me it ate a lily," she said. The psychiatrist looked at the police, and the police looked at the psychiatrist. "He told me it had a golden horn in the middle of its forehead," she said.
Part 3.
At a solemn signal from the psychiatrist, the police leaped from their chairs and seized the wife. They had a hard time subduing her, for she put up a terrific struggle, but they finally subdued her. Just as they got her into the straitjacket, the husband came back into the house. "Did you tell your wife you saw a unicorn?" asked the police. "Of course not," said the husband. "The unicorn is a mythical beast." "That's all I wanted to know," said the psychiatrist. "Take her away. I'm sorry, sir, but your wife is as crazy as a jaybird." So they took her away, cursing and screaming, and shut her up in an institution. The husband lived happily ever after.
Module 10, Recording 2.
Finished with the paper?
Hang on, I'm just reading an article about lie detectors.
Oh yeah, that one. I started reading it this morning, but I didn't finish it. Anything interesting in it?
Apparently, you can tell someone's lying because they can't help blushing.
Did they realise they are?
No, I don't think so. Tell me, do you ever blush when you talk to me?
No, of course I don't. That's because I never lie to you.
Is that true?
Of course it is. We never lie to each other, right?
So, why are you blushing now then?
Module 10, Recording 3.
OK then, here are 10 facts about myself. Right. Number 1. When I was a teenager, I used to sing in a rock band.
Okay, rock band.
Number 2. At school, I was a champion swimmer.
Okay.
Number 3. My mother and father were both only children, so I haven't got any uncles or aunts.
Auntless.
And uncle-less.
Uncle-less.
Number 4. When I was little, I had a cat and her name was Dandelion. Number 5. I once met Nelson Mandela. Ooh. Former president of South Africa, for those of you who didn't know.
We know.
Oh, you did? Okay, good.
We know that one.
Number 6. I never, ever, ever, ever eat meat.
Okay, right.
Stunned silence.
Vegetarian.
Number 7. I speak fluent Russian.
Cool.
Right, very impressive.
Number 8. I wasn't born in England.
Not English.
No, wasn't born in England.
Okay.
And number 9. I once drove a van for a living.
All right.
And last one, number 10. I'm about to be an auntie for the first time.
Module 10, Recording 4.
Right. Okay, so this rock band,
Yeah.
what was the name of it?
We were called the Blues Assassins. We were actually more blues than rock, really.
Mm-hmm. And how many people were there in the band?
There were 5 of us. There was drums, bass, keyboards, guitar, and me. I was the singer.
Right. Give me the name of one of the songs that you used to sing.
Oh, crumbs. Hang on, let me think. Going back a bit. Oh, okay. I'd rather go blind. that was my favourite song.
Did it chart at all?
It's somewhat more punk than blues, I think. But anyway.
All right, well, shall we move on to number 2? You were a champion swimmer, were you?
Yes, I was.
Mm-hmm. What distance did you used to swim?
100 metres, 200 metres, anything, really.
What was your best time for 100 metres, say?
About 40 seconds, something like that.
That's pretty quick.
A bit quick.
Right, now the next one. So, you have no uncles or aunts?
No.
Small family?
Yeah, very small but tiny.
So you didn't have many presents at Christmas?
Well, I think my mum and dad bought me more because of not having any uncles or aunts.
Okay.
Right. So, this cat,
Yeah.
Dandelion,
What colour was it?
Just sort of orangey, marmalade-y kind of colour.
why did you call it Dandelion?
Because she looked a bit like a lion.
Right then, how did you come to meet Nelson Mandela?
I was in South Africa and I was invited to a party at the British Embassy that he was attending.
What were you doing in South Africa?
I was visiting some relatives, very distant relatives.
And did he say anything to you? Nelson Mandela, that is?
Yeah, he did.
What did he say?
Well, welcome to South Africa, that kind of thing. We had quite a good chat, actually.
Right. So, you're a vegetarian.
Yes, I am, completely.
What made you give up meat, then?
Well, I'm really against any kind of cruelty to animals. I don't eat eggs, either.
Fish?
Yeah, I eat fish occasionally.
Right, so you're not a vegan.
Now, this one I really don't believe.
Oh, yeah.
Russian. Where did you learn it?
I studied it at university. And I spent a year in Russia, in Moscow.
And what's the Russian for potato?
Potato?
Hmm.
Kartoffel.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Oh,
Kartoffel.
I don't speak Russian, so I don't know if she's
German.
Russian.
Kartoffel's
Well, yeah, I know it's
German.
German.
So, where were you born then?
I was born in Kenya.
In Kenya.
Yeah.
Why were your parents in Kenya?
Well, my dad worked in the diplomatic service and we lived in Kenya till I was 3.
Do you remember it at all?
No, don't.
And what's the capital of Kenya?
I don't know. I was too young to care at the time.
Now, come on then. How come you drove a van for a living?
I drove a van delivering bread to all the shops round where I lived in the holidays when I was a student, just to
make a few quid in the holidays, and I'd only just passed my driving test.
OK, what colour was the van?
It was blue and white.
And what was your boss's name?
Oh, crumbs. I can't remember. It was just too long ago.
Too long ago.
Mhm.
Too long ago. OK, number 10.
Mhm.
Oh, you're about to be an auntie.
Yes, I am.
Yes, and I thought you were an only child.
No, didn't say I was an only child. I said I haven't got any aunts and uncles.
So when's the baby due?
In April the 20th.
What time?
They didn't specify the time, obviously.
Is it your sister then?
Yeah, it's my sister Hannah.
Have they got any names yet?
No, well, none they can agree on anyway.
They must have something they're thinking about.
Yeah, but...
Oh, go on.
Keanu or Kylie.
Yeah, well, that's fair enough.
Module 10, Recording 5.
All right, so the answers.
Right.
Number 1 is true. I was the singer of the Blues Assassins.
Thought so.
Well, I know, but that song, the name of that song,
Blues
I
Assassins.
can't believe.
Number
Anyway.
2. No, I was not a champion
No, you
swimmer.
were not
No, I
a
wasn't.
champion.
400
Not
metre-
40 metres,
40
40 seconds, 100 metres.
In fact, I can't even swim. So that's false. Number 3 is false as well. I did have an uncle, well, I still do, in fact, and an aunt.
Oh, you fooled me.
Number 4, about the cat, Dandelion, is absolutely true.
Yep.
Number 5,
No.
I haven't met
haven't.
Nelson Mandela.
Really?
That was
Really?
a lie.
'Cause you had me
guessed.
fooled.
Absolutely
I have been to
had
South
me
Africa.
going there.
I have been, but I didn't meet Nelson Mandela. I am a vegetarian, and I do speak Russian.
Oh,
you didn't believe me,
Kartoffel
did
really
you?
is the Russian for
Kartoffel,
potato.
yes, absolutely. I wasn't born in Kenya, and I did used to deliver bread when I was a student, when I was about 18 or 19.
Okay.
Boss didn't make a great impression on you, though, did he?
Absolutely not, no. The van did, though. And the very last one, no, it's not true.
Oh.
I haven't even got a sister.
Oh.
Only brothers. So I'm not about to be an auntie.
Not about to be an auntie.
Module 10, Recording 6.
Will, could you pass one of those?
What? Sorry?
Could you pass me one of those forms from over there?
Oh, yeah. There you go. Oh, dear. Sorry. I just can't get going at all this morning. Don't know what's the matter with me.
What? Were you up late again last night? Out clubbing again?
Well, not that late. We went to that new place. What's it called? I got home about 6, I suppose.
You didn't get home till 6?
Well, I got a couple of hours sleep. I was up at 8 to go for a run in the park. Still feel tired, though.
Well, I'm not surprised.
Ran for 3 miles. Didn't seem to do me a lot of good, I must say.
No wonder you're tired after all that exercise.
Anyway, you'll never guess who was there.
Where? In the park?
No, in the club, dummy.
Well, I don't know, do I?
You know, Yasmin Ellis.
What? Yasmin Ellis, a supermodel?
That's her. She was there, with some friends of hers.
You're kidding.
No, seriously. And you're not going to believe this. She asked me to dance, just like that. May I have this dance with you, sir? Really?
No. No, you're right. I don't believe you.
Module 10, Recording 7. A.
You're kidding!
B.
Do you seriously expect me to believe that?
C.
I'm not surprised.
D.
I'll believe that when I see it.
E.
That's totally ridiculous.
F.
No wonder.
G.
I'll take your word for it.
H.
You're going to do what?
I.
You must be joking.
J.
You could have fooled me.
K.
That's absolutely amazing.
L.
Obviously.
Published and copyright Pearson Education Limited, 2003.